Greetings. Welcome to Chapter 3 of Dharana Darshan. Meditative Process. According to the theory and concept of yoga, meditation is a state of mind and consciousness in which there is alertness, dynamism, dissociation of mind and senses, and total concentration. It is definitely not a process to block out events or experiences which are constantly affecting us. In the Raja Yoga Sutras, the process of meditation has been divided into 8 stages. Yama, which is self-restraint, Niyama, which is fixed rules, Asana, which is posture, Pranayama, which is breath control, Pratyahara, which is sensory control, Dharana, which is concentration, Dhyana, which is meditation, and Samadhi, which is transcendental consciousness. The first 4 stages, known as the Bahirangas, or external yogas, in which an effort is made to harmonize the body, to awaken the pranic energy within the body, and to reach a point of total steadiness and equanimity within the body. The meditative aspect of yoga and yoga itself do not denounce the body as unnecessary. Rather, awareness is first generated for the body because the body affects the stability and peace of mind. If somebody pinches you, where do you feel the pain? In the part of the body that is being pinched, or in the mind? The pain is experienced in both places. Therefore, the process of meditation is dealt with in such a way that the mental and physical experiences are totally contained in one field of awareness so that nothing remains scattered. So yoga presents the shock review of meditation, whereby, after having controlled the physical experiences by going through the techniques of Bahiranga Yoga, one enters the mental dimension and works toward the center of the mind. This is the basis of the whole philosophy according to yoga. You have to move towards the center of the mind from the periphery. What are the peripheral experiences of the mind? These are the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the desires, which we are experiencing constantly and continuously in our lives. In order to get to the center of the mind, there has to be an awareness of the peripheral activity and control over it. This aspect has been emphasized in the aspect of Pratyahara and Dhyana. This has been emphasized in the aspect of Pratyahara and Dharana. The actual practices of meditation are of Pratyahara and Dharana only. Nowhere in the yogic tradition will you find dhyana mentioned as a practice or technique, but you will find a wide variety of Pratyahara and Dharana techniques such as Tattva Dharana, Chitakasha Dharana, and Vyoma Panchaka Dharana. These different techniques lead one deeper into the perception of one's own mind, the subtle aspect, the vibratory aspect of the mind. Just as there are many layers of the physical body, on the outside there's skin, inside there's muscles, nerves, blood vessels, then the bones, and inside the bones, the marrow. In the same way, there are also many layers or levels in the mental body. Therefore, meditation is not easy. If you think that closing the eyes and trying to stop the mind is meditation, then you can try it. But you will not be successful unless you have developed a very strong willpower. Without the power of anashakti, vairagya, or non-attachment, meditation is very difficult to practice. If you are not attached to the experiences of the senses, ego, buddhi, which is intellect, chitta, which is memory, and manas, which is rational mind, then you can experience spontaneous meditation. However, unless and until that happens, you will have to work through the practices systematically, stage by stage. Concept of dharana. The yogic term for concentration is dharana, which means to hold the mind at one point. This holding or binding of the mind to one point is the concept of dharana. In Sanskrit, the word dharana is derived from the root dhri, which means foundation or base, so that the object or concept upon which the mind is firmly based is the actual definition of dharana. In the yogic tradition, dharana belongs to the internal stages of Raja Yoga, which is the path of mental discipline. Dharana follows the stage of Pratyahara in which the mind is withdrawn from the external sensory objects and internalized. After separating the mind from the senses, the mind can go deep. It can create its own worlds, while the senses remain outside. Once we are able to create this differentiation or distinction between the sensory awareness and the mental awareness, then the mind can be directed to go deeper into other states where dharana becomes intense. Dharana, which is termed as mental concentration, is deepening of mental awareness. As the mental awareness deepens, and when there is total absence of sensorial awareness, then dharana takes place. Intensity of experience. Dharana can take place in any form. We can compare dharana with the experience that two lovers have when they are together for hours and hours, but it seems as if only a few moments have passed. However, if something unpleasant has to be done, then one moment will seem like one whole hour. So the intensity which makes us aware of one moment as being a long time, or of a long time being as one moment, is dharana. In the positive aspect, dharana is deepening of awareness, where the concept of time is lost, where the objective consciousness is lost, and only the awareness of space remains. When there is sensorial disconnection of mind, then anything which manifests internally in dharana actually becomes more intense and powerful. We have experienced this intensity in the form of an emotional outburst at the time of meditation. There are many people who become highly emotional as they go deep into meditative states. These emotional outbursts are often attributed to some kind of mental, psychological, or emotional blockage. However, beyond this, there is another reason. According to yoga, when an intensity of thought, idea, or feeling is experienced unconsciously in the deeper layers of the mind, without the distraction of the senses, at that particular moment, the idea or thought form itself becomes a very intensive experience. Such an emotional outburst is also a state of dharana. The difference is that, in this case, there is no support or basis to which we latch ourselves. Therefore, the intensity is very strong, and we feel it coming from deep inside. As that particular emotional outburst takes place, we relate it to some event, situation, circumstance, or experience from the past. Childhood memories rise to the surface. Images of happy or sad times that we have had in life come rushing up, and we go with the force of those feelings. That is the external reaction which takes place in meditation when the mind is without a support. Therefore, it is quite common to see people crying, expressing their emotions, and going through different spontaneous physical movements in the state of dharana. Right now, with the externalized mind, we are conscious and aware of how our body has to react and behave. In the external state, there is also an unconscious control of prana, whereas in meditation, that unconscious control is not there. There is no control over the prana. The mind is cut off from the body, and the prana begins to move and flow spontaneously. So the body adopts different postures according to the movement of prana. When this disconnection takes place, the prana becomes free. The mental concepts become free from the conditioning of body, environment, and even local mentality. Intensity of concentration. The important thing here is to keep the mind fixed on one point only. Any point of concentration can be used such as a mantra, symbol, thought, idea, or any form. Intensity of concentration is generally regarded as dharana. There is a story in the Mahabharata which illustrates the intensity of concentration required for this practice. When Acharya Drona was teaching archery to the Pandava and Kuru princes, he asked his pupils to come forward one at a time in order to see a small clay bird that he had placed on a branch at the top of the tree, and to shoot an arrow through the eye of the bird. As each prince came forward, the Guru asked him the same question. "What do you see?" The first prince replied, "I see the forest, the sky, the tree, the leaves, the branch, and the bird." The Guru said, "Don't shoot. Put your bow down." Then he called the next prince and asked, "What do you see?" The second prince replied, "I see the tree, the leaves, the branch, and the bird." The Guru told him also to put the bow down. All the pupils who came forward failed to understand the teaching that the guru was trying to impart because he expected a very specific answer. Finally, Arjuna's turn came, and the guru asked him, "What do you see?" Arjuna replied, "I see the bird's eye." The guru asked, "Do you not see the leaves of the tree and the branch on which the bird is sitting?" "No," said Arjuna. "I see only the eye and nothing else." The guru then asked, "Do you not even see the bird's wings or head?" Arjuna replied, "No, I see nothing but the eye, that is all." So then the guru was satisfied and said to Arjuna, "You have learned well." Arjuna did not have tunnel vision, nor was he blind to the scenery around him. But the intensity of his concentration was so great that all of his faculties of perception were fixed on one single point, the bird's eye. At the time of meditation, if there is oscillation in the mind, then concentration will not be experienced. Dharana is a state in which there is total one-pointedness. It may come only for a second after a lot of practice. If you are trying to practice meditation with an oscillating mind, which is moving from one point to the next, while different thoughts and ideas are coming and going, then it is not meditation, or dharana, or even pratyahara, because there are too many oscillations and distractions. So just closing the eyes and trying to fix the mind on an image is not enough. Proper training has to be given to the senses, to the mind, and also to the mental faculties as and when they manifest, in order to perfect dharana and to come to the meditative state of jhana. Approach to meditation. In the Raja Yoga Sutras, Samhadipada number 14 of Patanjali, there is a sutra which describes the process of meditation. That practice becomes firmly grounded, which is continued for a long time, with reverence and without interruption. This is the main sutra which must be taught to every aspirant. The three qualities are necessary for the achievement or fulfillment of any sadhana, whether it be spiritual or material. The first is faith or conviction. Even if you are working in a factory, there has to be a conviction that through the work you will achieve your goal. Without that conviction, there is no motivation to do the work. The same principle applies to the practice of dharana. There has to be faith or conviction that yes, through my practice, I'm going to attain the goal. Whether it takes a long time or a short time is irrelevant. Continuity or regularity is the second aspect of sadhana. When you feel that you can fulfill your need with a particular sadhana, then you try to become regular in it. During that period of regular practice, you try to ignore any distractions which come in the way. Once you set out on a journey, how long it will take you to reach your destination depends on your continuity. You can stop 20 times on the way, or you can just go on continuously. If you stop 20 times on the way, it will take you longer to complete the journey. But if you go on continuously, you will complete the journey sooner. Continuity without a break is necessary in order to obtain the full benefit of the practice. Many times people say, "I've been practicing concentration for many years and nothing has happened." However, most of these people do not practice regularly. Perhaps they practice only once a week, or not at all for several weeks, and they may have a spurt of enthusiasm where they practice for long durations. Right from the start, it should be understood that practicing 1 day a week is like taking 1 step forward, and not practicing for the remaining 6 days is like taking 6 steps back. How can you expect to make any progress in this way? Therefore, in the practice of meditation, there has to be continuity and regularity. Just as you find the time to do those other things which you consider necessary in your life, in the same way, you have to find time to be regular in dharana. Practice over a long period of time is the third aspect of sadhana which must be fulfilled. The idea of practicing one thing for a long period of time is something which puts most people off. If we have to do something for a long time, we tend to get bored and lose interest. In external awareness, the mind follows the senses. But when we are internalized, the senses following the mind, then the time factor is not important. So, we have to be committed to the practice of meditation without any impatience or expectation of achievement within a certain period of time. If there is expectation of achievement within a certain time, then it should be dealt with accordingly. You also have to consider that your approach to meditation begins just like that of a caterpillar, moving from one small leaf of a huge tree to another. To arrive at the center of that tree may be the eventual aim, but in the beginning, you cannot just go straight to the center. To do that, a different kind of awareness is needed. You have to start crawling from where you are, like a caterpillar which has a leaf as its world. As it passes the leaf, it reaches a tiny twig, which connects to a bigger branch, which connects to another bigger branch, which connects to the trunk of your tree, which goes down to the roots. Our mentality, our expectations, our life, our world is our leaf, and we are nibbling away at it. In fact, we are all caterpillars in our own right, nibbling away at our leaf. From this leaf, we have to get to the main trunk and eventually try to bore a hole in the center. This is the process of meditation.